Hey guys, welcome back to the Prehistoric Life Podcast. I'm your host, Eric Crawford, and we have Nova Studios back. Would you like to reintroduce yourself, I
Hi.
guess?
Yeah, sure. So I'm David. I'm the creator of Nova Studios, the website to go where you need 3D models from actual anatomical skeletons for prehistoric animals.
So we've actually had a interview with you before. I'll link that somewhere at the end. I don't know. I'll put it somewhere. You'll see it pop up in one of the corners. Not important. Watch this one first, and you can go watch that one. But you actually recontacted me because you had been working on your office, your studio during that time, and
Yeah,
you've not quite done, but you're a lot closer than you were.
yeah. So for the last 3 years, we've been remodeling, actually rebuilding the home where we and my family live in. And we've done it all by ourselves. So of the old homes, there's actually not much left, and we totally rebuilt the home and made a new office space. I'm still moving in, but I got a few places already set up. There's a lot more incoming for this setup, but also got my 3D printer running on the back. One of them. Uh, I'm also building uh, I don't know, garden shed. Is that how you call it in English? I don't know.
What do you ask? Wait, what are you asking?
What do you call it in English? A garden shack? A house in the garden?
Shed, garden
What
shed. Yeah.
shed? Sure. Let's just say a big shed in the back where I can put most of my printers in. Uh, because the resin printers have some
They take
fumes
a lot of room.
yeah, and they take a little bit space and they're quite messy. So that's going to be in the shed in the back. But yeah, as you can see, I got some models up. I can also made an Aquilops that's now got famous because of the Jurassic World series. It's not very accurate, but
You
my
know,
skeleton is. Well, actually, we're not quite sure because we never found the exact skeleton. We only found the skull. I'll show it. So this is Dolores.
Dolores. Not quite what we remember from the movie, but the movie is also inaccurate. But
Yeah, this is actually the correct size compared to the skull, and it's mostly based on Psittacosaurus and yeah, Ceratopsian skeletons in general. The skull was actually pretty easy to do because but the skull was actually mostly found intact. It was a little bit squished, but it was very detailed and very easy to make a 3D model from it. And there's a lot of photos and general information on the internet about the skull. And the skeleton is mostly based on the Psittacosaurus. I do have a Psittacosaurus skeleton, but that was made from 3D scans, and that's also free because the only models I actually sell are the ones that I make totally in 3D without the use of scans. And so I had to remodel the entire Psittacosaurus skeleton using the scans as how do you say it as a reference, and took some variations from that, then from Triceratops skeleton, and also the Microceratopsian skeleton that I also made 2 years back. So it's a bit of a mix-up of
a bit of a
different
hybrid
skeletons.
speculation. But
It's a Jurassic Park model. What do you
I mean,
expect? So,
we don't know, so it's kind of up for interpretation there.
and also, there's a lot of skeleton drawings out there made by Hartman, Dr. Scott Hartman, that are also always very, very helpful. So definitely want to thank that guy because he's a tremendous help in all of my work with his skeleton drawings. So,
But yeah, it also looks like you have a lot going on in that back shelf, and you got some other shelves going
oh
on there.
yeah.
Is that
Well, last year I made a Protoceratops skeleton for the Saurier Museum in Bellach, that's in Switzerland, and they wanted a life-size one, but they also wanted to have a juvenile. So I'm gonna get one. So this is a small size of that Protoceratops skeleton. Uh, the big one is available on the web shop, so you can download the 3D files and print one yourself. But this one is also with the juvenile.
hmm.
And in the museum, it's being hunted by a velociraptor. So they
So it's
mounted a velociraptor that was made by Justin from Inhuman Species, and that's the model they used to attack this one. So yeah, it was nice to work on.
you got little souvenirs kind of from those projects. You get little
Oh yeah,
self-made souvenirs.
this one I made for Japan, for a museum in Japan, and it's also made into a life-size replica, and it's the Parasaur Parasaurolophus with also a juvenile.
So what is the primary difference between working on something bigger and something smaller like that versus the actual life-size one?
Well, like this one, you have to make it 3D printable at this scale. You have to make some adjustments. It's still anatomical correct, but like the shoulder blades, they're attached to the ribs. So here they're attached to the ribs. Also, this part, some parts are one piece. So the head and the neck, because the neck is very fragile. It's also very small, and it still has to hold up the head. So this one is one part, and yeah, some things are meshed together. So the rib cage here is also one part, and for a life-size replica, each vertebrae has to be separate, and also to fit their printer because they have to give me the specs of the printer they're using. Sometimes I have to cut the vertebrae in several parts. So to make a life-size replica of this, it's about 1,000, 2,000 part system, and it takes a lot of work to cut up all the vertebrae in two different dimensions for every printer. The small one is actually pretty easy to print, and all the vertebrae are also separated for the life-size model, but they all fit one, the simple build plate of any 3D printer. So I'm actually thinking of making the juvenile accessible to for everyone in the life-sized version. So,
As the life-sized juvenile?
yeah,
Hmm.
uh, I'll make that available in the next year. So it's also been documented by a couple of paleontologists in Japan that I worked together to make the model, and it's been documented that it's accurate to the findings. So
And there's something that you mentioned before recording, and that a lot of people over in the UK know about. Well, Europe probably more than over here, but DinoCon. That's
yeah,
next weekend. at the next weekend. At the time
Next
of
weekend,
recording.
yeah, the 18th, yeah. I'm not gonna be there, but one of my vendors is Extinct Paleo Art is gonna be there. So Joe, who's the owner of Extinct Paleo Art, he has several artists in his catalog. One of them is me, and he's gonna be available. He's gonna be at Dynacon, and also with a couple of exclusive models from me. I made a great oak that's never been done before. I do have the entire skeleton because he was very, very meticulous and very enthusiastic about the great oak. It's for me, it's a penguin, but I can't say it to him because he's gonna shoot me. It's not a penguin, but very much looks. You be the judge. Doesn't this look like a penguin?
It's penguin-like versus actually being a penguin. It's a whole the whole argument.
Yeah. So my desk is getting full of this. Yeah. So I made that one from him because it was his dream to have a life-size version of the great oak, and he asked me if I could do that. It was I'd rather make dinosaurs than ever replicating a penguin again in my life. It's a bitch to make. Excuse my language.
What part of the process was so difficult for it?
This. These little ribs that are extracting from the girdle here. It was very difficult, and it had to be very accurate. You don't know how many penguins and bird skeletons I had to watch to make this, and also to be able to print it. That was the skull was actually pretty easy because there's a lot of documentation about it, but the skeleton you can only find actual skeletal references in books. So he texted me several pages of whatever book he found about the skeleton, and then you can actually take this off. I'm not going to do that because it's very delicate. Don't want to mess it up. So he messaged me and texted me different photographs, and I mean ancient photographs. I don't even think the camera was invented when they published that book.
Did you manuscript by pigeon?
Yeah, I got a pigeon that flew over here with new photographs. And yeah, based on those reconstructions, and then he was actually on the board of I don't recall what museum he's on in the board of, and he used this context and showed them the model to see if it was accurate, and they concurred it was accurate. English guys, and they often say words like "I concur." So.
Gotta be fancy about it.
But Joe is actually American, but his wife is British, I believe. So he gets my jokes. But yeah, he was very stoked. And that skeleton is also going to be at Dinocon. It's not dinosaur related, but it's an ancient prehistoric animal.
It counts for something.
It was actually one of the first documented species that got extinct because of humans. So that's and it's also on the extinction list of, I believe the company is called Extinction, that brought back the hybrid dog, whatever they want to call it. It's not a dire wolf.
The colossal with
some
the
traits. Colossal. Yeah.
dire wolf.
Yeah, the dire wolf. It's also on their extinction list, so it's getting traction and popularity. So And he's also gonna bring the Postosuchus skeleton I made. That is getting a lot of popularity too. And those models are exclusive to him. So some of my vendors do get the right to have exclusives, um, depending on what it is. If it's on my Nova Studio list, before I bring out a model, I show it to the vendors and they can see if they want it exclusively or not. Depends on the rarity of the specimen. Uh, and if they don't want it exclusively, gets it ends up on my website where everyone can download the 3D model and build their own private museum. Uh, of course, these models are desktop models. Some, like the Compsognathus, are life-size models, and they're gonna be this year. I'm gonna add a couple of more life-size models, and next year there's gonna be a huge life-size model. I'm not gonna say what it is, but
Because I guess the smaller the animal, the you can just sell it as life size a lot easier, and you don't
yeah,
have to make like realistically. Compsognathus is already small enough, or like
yeah,
Archaeopteryx. Making a smaller model is like why? just
yeah,
why?
yeah. It's life-size. It's a desktop model when it's life-size. So, but
You could
this
probably
year,
scale
I
it,
hope. Yeah. You
take
can
the
scale
final
it up a
scale,
little bit.
print it scaled down. I guess like
Yeah, but this is like the Equilops. It's just at the right size. You can print it even with a resin printer and with an FDM printer. It's just on the edge there. But like the Parasaurolophus at this size, you cannot print that with an FDM printer because even with a zero point 0.2 nozzle, it's gonna get tricky. And I always on my sites, it's mentioned that these models are meant for resin printing. You can try it with FDM printing, but I'm not gonna encourage it because it gets difficult to do that. Uh, but I'm also working on a Simosuchus skeleton, and that's going to be life size. So that's pretty big for to put in your home. I also have a life-size T-Rex skull, Daspletosaurus skull, and the juvenile Gorgosaurus skull available on my website. So, and the T-Rex is based on the Maximus skull that was sold a couple of years ago. Uh, they always say it's the most complete skeleton or skull ever found, and then they mentioned that with the next skull they found, it's the most complete. So I don't really know which one is a complete skull anymore. Uh,
yeah, you
but
could probably sit there and debate that, but there's really no
yeah,
point. Just make both of them. Let people choose.
yeah. But uh, yeah, the Ceratosaurus skull that's way up there on the top shelf. That's a pretty big one. It's the one there on the. Don't know if you can see it on the camera. Try to make it up. It's pretty big.
That's a beautiful one.
Yeah, that's the
Ceratosaurus.
Ceratosaurus. It's been downloaded a lot lately because of the juvenile they sold.
Yeah, I would. Yeah,
Yeah, but it's a pretty big one. This is an adult version. It also has the osteoderms. It's completely anatomical correct. So, uh, but yeah, someone asked me because it's a customer that also bid on the juvenile specimen that was for sale on Sotheby's. It was a couple of million short, and he asked me if I can model him a juvenile, but I'm not going to do it
and you
because he wanted an exact copy of the juvenile, and I'm not gonna copy a, a
That's, I
similar.
mean, that's.
It
I'm
sounded
sure
a
if
little
if
dubious.
you can find somebody to do it. That's a really clever loophole. I mean, you just miss the bidding. If you get to keep your money, depending on how the bidding works, you just like, all right, well, I'm gonna go
Yeah,
invest that into just getting a copy of it.
yeah, it's a lot cheaper too, but to make exact replicas, it's nearly impossible.
Yeah.
Uh, and yeah, if I make something like that, I want to do that and make it available for everyone. Uh,
To get like an exact replica, you would have to have like every single bone on the initial skeleton scanned in
yeah,
like
yeah.
perfectly.
He
So
implied that he could get access to scans of it, and I know those scans are not meant for the public. So, and that's the reason I actually declined it.
yeah,
So,
that seems a little shady. But like you can just be
yeah,
like, yeah, well, we have a ceratosaurus. Just get yourself a printer and print it yourself. Like,
yeah, yeah. That model hasn't. I didn't work on it to make it life sized, but it's possible. I can do that. It's gonna take a long time to separate every model for every size of 3D printer they have. But and the long, like the T Rex skull, is made of altogether 100 parts. So and the longest parts in my settings, because everybody uses different printers at different speeds, and takes one piece takes about 2 days to print.
hmm.
So unless you have 16 or 14 printers, you can do it in a reasonable amount of time. If you have one printer like me at the moment, it's going to take a couple of months to print that.
And then you also have I don't know what the correct term is, but like printables for the general public. I
Yeah,
guess is
those are the models you can download and you can 3D print them yourself, or you can go to a 3D printing shop and let them 3D print it for you. Or you can use one of my vendors like Dinosauria Creatures or the Extinct. They offer painted versions of my and unpainted versions. So if you want to try and paint it yourself, you can do that. So you can buy their printed versions in unprimed, so raw, like it comes out of the printer with the supports removed, primed or painted. And they use Dino commissions as their paleo artists for the painting process. And yeah, most of my models are painted by him. So if you the Parasaurolophus is painted by him, and you can see the color texture is really
very
beautifully
detailed.
done. Yeah.
And I
Uh,
assume the base comes with the file or
no, no,
no?
because it never gets printed in the base. I included that with a couple of models, a base, and when I see it passing, when somebody posts it on Instagram or any other socials, I never see it printed with the base. They always take, like I do actually, a wooden plate that you can buy in any shop. Actually, I use oak wood for my bases, and I buy these little, as you can see here, these little pedestals on Etsy with a nameplate, and it looks very. It's also where when someone like a museum or a private collector asks me to make a model of them in life size, they get a small replica of the model with a name tag on a wooden base like that, so they can see how the model would look like uh, before they actually start the 3D printing process of the life size one.
So that they can make any alterations or whatever.
Yeah, but that doesn't happen a lot. Uh, they asked me for a pose for this one with a mother that's protecting the juvenile that's running behind her. So, and you can place the juvenile wherever you want, but I made it so the parasol, the mother looks a little bit to her side, to the back, to the juvenile that's walking here. So it gives that little feeling of a mother watching over her young. So, so a little story behind that.
And here, I'll pull this up. This is your page. You can correct me if I'm wrong on this. If you want to, if anybody wants to go check it out, get anything, you can come here. These are the files. Yes, these are just the files, correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
So these are just the files, and you can print them with your printer or go to somebody who has a printer or whatever, buy a printer. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I'll link this in the description somewhere or figure out how to put it wherever it needs to be. But y'all will have access to this somewhere. But within that, there is warning here. I should probably have not closed it and pulled it back up.
Oh, about the resin printers.
Yeah, you probably want a resin printer. I've never personally printed any of these out. I don't own a 3D printer, so I've never had the opportunity to. I don't know what happens if you just use a regular 3D printer. Maybe you could speak on that.
Well, you have to upscale the parts to a significant size. So this size is not printable with an FDM printer. You would have to upscale it about 4 times.
Wow.
That you can have a model like this, and then it would be able to print it. But it also depends on what type of the size of your printer you're using. If you're using a standard 220 bed, the parts are not going to fit it. So you have to know how to cut models, make back holes to reconnect the parts in the exact same position. And yeah, a lot of people don't know how to do that. And I've got some people that downloaded the models that didn't see the notice that you have to print it with resin printers, not FDM. And they don't have resin printers. And then they tried to contact me and, oh, I can't print this. Can you refund me? Sorry, it's listed as resin prints, not FDM prints, so no refunds. Sorry. But I did offer them to cut up the model to their bed size. I don't do that always. I don't always. It's very. It's a lot of work to do that, and without the loss of detail. And yeah, you also have to need a lot of room for those big models. So.
Yeah, and that's the bigger the model, the more room you have. So if you're going to upscale it, make sure you have the room for it upscaled. If you're not, and you can print it with your 3D printer, with your resin 3D printer,
yeah.
go at it.
Also, if you want to upscale it, make sure you have the approval of your wife. And if you don't have a wife or girlfriend, go for it.
Go for it. Have fun. Go crazy. Make it unrealistically large if you want.
Yeah. I did want the biggest model I made myself was my Quetzalcoatlus. You know, the big, there, my English is not that good. And the pronunciations of the words are not always very refined. But the Quetzalcoatlotes, I made a 2 meter version. Uh, so the one on my website is 1 meter, but if you have a big enough printer, you can upscale it to a 2 meter version, uh, and that's already very impressive.
And all of these can be upscaled to however large.
However large you want it, you can upscale them, not to a life size because then you can then the anatomical issues would not be correct anymore because the shoulder blades in the real models aren't attached to the ribs. Some parts are meshed together, so in the small scale, they wouldn't
So
be
it would.
as.
So if you
If
just
you
like
ups,
realistically scaled it up, it would be like zooming in on a pixelated picture.
yeah, yeah, yeah. But like the where is it? I have so many things here. I don't even know it. Okay. So I'm also working on Bambi, uh, and I don't mean Bambi Bambi. This is Bambi. So this is the smaller raptor, and this was I actually sculpted this live on Instagram uh, because it's modeled after an exact replica, and I didn't want to run into issues about copyright and such. So I modeled this live on Instagram to show that it's not from scans, it's all sculpted by hand. I'll let you zoom in on some of. So this is where the rod is going to be for the cervical vertebrae. And this is going to be a life-sized version. It's going to be around 1 meter. So actually pretty cool to have a life-sized raptor in your collection. And the files will be available on the websites. So yeah, this is actually one of the projects I'm working on. Also a life-sized. It's not a dinosaur. Well, I'm gonna let you guess. I don't know if I can. Wait, I'll open up the file and let you guess which one it is.
Just start guessing
Uh,
non
yeah, I'll
dinosaur
let you guess.
animals. Oh, is it the Dimetrodon?
Yeah,
That'd be
that's gonna be also available soon. So I actually am very close to the entire. It's I've been working on this for 3 years now, off and on, and a couple of people that already bought it on cults before it was actually made are gonna have free access to it for the amount they paid in for it. Uh, and for the rest, for the other people that didn't do that, it's going to be available on the website very soon. So, yeah, still working on that. Uh, and also, we're going to have a future roommate in here. Going to buy a little reptile. This is going to be in his terrarium.
that's gonna be cool.
Yeah, I hope so. Yeah. So yeah, that's about it. I got about 20 models in the pipeline. So some of them are going to be released this year. The other ones are going to be released in yeah, the first half of 26. And yeah, I'm also going to step away a little bit from the dinosaurs and also going to direct my focus on the more prehistoric animals like the mammoth, etc. That's
Mammoths,
also going to
Mylodon,
be, yeah,
Glyptodon, giant sloths,
yeah.
things.
Those are also going to be included into the catalog very soon. And also, marine reptiles are coming soon.
Ichthyosaurs,
Uh,
Ichthytitan,
yeah,
Ammonites.
yeah. Mammonites, no. Uh, Actually, pretty simple to make. But yeah, no, Ichthyosaurus is one. I already have a Elasmosaurus skeleton on the website. But Ichthyosaurus is going to join them, and also the name of a fish I cannot pronounce. It starts with an X. Uh,
That's
seem,
I, I
I'm
know what you're
still
talking.
learning to pronounce that.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, you
Uh,
show
but also, so for those who can pronounce this,
Yeah, that's Cypactinus. That's how I call it.
actually X fish. Call it an X fish.
They call it the bulldog fish.
Oh, um, we're gonna steal this guy's video. Real quick.
Are you having trouble?
I don't care about ads. We're not gonna show ads.
It's
We don't show
always annoying.
ads. Go watch the ads on this video. We skip others' ads, not mine though.
So I always prefer it as the bulldog fish, and it's actually its real nickname too. So yeah,
Zephactinus.
Zephactinus.
Cypactinus. Try saying that 10 times in a row. Whoever comes up with those names.
Yeah, that'll be a fun one. That's
Yeah, it's scary one too.
it's a popular, unpopular one.
Yeah, it is.
Makes any
It is.
sense. Ooh, what about
Uh,
Dunkleosteus?
well, my buddy from Inhuman Species is already working on that. So I try to stay out of people's way. So when Inhuman is making a Velociraptor, it's pointless for me to make a Velociraptor. When other 3D artists that sell their 3D files, I've tried to stay clear of making another version of it, so that everyone gets a little bit room, and everybody shares the spotlight with everyone. Uh, but it does happen. Like with the Aquilops, I was working
I'm
on
sure
an
a lot of
Aquilops.
people started doing
Yeah,
that immediately once that movie came out. So I wouldn't be surprised if you ran into like four. I'm sure there's like 40 files out there minimum now of just
yeah.
that different
Yeah.
interpretations, basically.
Actually, at the moment, I'm the only one that has that made an entire skeleton of Aquilops. But the skull has been made several times, even before I did it. So the skull was available online. Even the CD scans of Aquilops are available for free online. So it was already made a couple of times, and there was already a 3D construction of the skull made 2 years ago, 3 years ago. I don't remember that. But yeah, so it wasn't new, but the skeleton, I based it off Dr. Hartman's work, skeleton reconstruction, for the size and a little bit the pose too. Uh, and yeah, used several models that were already in my collection to make the 3D model. Did some remodeling of certain parts, like the pelvis region and the femurs and etc. Uh, and yeah, the hands were remodeled from the Psittacosaurus skeleton. So yeah, the dinosaur creatures already also made an Aquilops skeleton, and that's what I mean because of the popularity of some models you're bound to run into some issues, and
Yeah.
that someone else already has made a skeleton version of it. Okay, shit happens. It's not my. Uh, I don't keep tabs on every 3D artist in the community, so you're bound to work on the same project or the same model eventually.
There's also just like so many animals that will actually be interesting to sell. So you just kind of,
Yeah,
you know,
like Bambi Raptor dinosaur skeletons made a really cool version, and it's it's very beautifully done. Uh, the difference between dinosaur skeletons is they sell the actual replica.
they
I
sell the
also sell
cast.
the 3D files.
So you were
Uh,
talking about sculpting the 3D cast from scratch pretty much versus off of other things and to stay away from copyright. So how does that work? Getting
well, actually, fossils, you can't have copyright over fossils because you can't copyright Mother Nature. So everything that is made by nature, people can't have copyright over that. What they do can have is the ownership of the fossils. That's why the Ceratosaurus skeleton was sold, the Stegosaurus skeleton. That's because of the landowner where they found the skeleton. Uh, the people like paleontologists that dig up the skeleton have to have permission from the landowner to dig up the skeleton. But it's ultimately the landowner that decides if the skeleton is going to be put into a museum or if it's going to get sold. Uh, and the thing is, the bones they found there, they can be copyright protected because Mother Nature made that. But when they scan the bones, the fossils,
the scan can
the
be copyrighted.
the scan is made by, let's say, a university or whatever. Those scans are copyright protected by the museum because their machines were used to make those scans. The scans are made by humans, so therefore these are copyright protected. What you can do is use scans as a reference. So you can use that scans to better understand the animal. Uh, and you can 3D model uh, that based on that scan. But you can't implement that scan into your 3D model or your your stepping on copyrights
Because yeah, like
unless
you
you
said.
have permission.
So I guess like if you were to go, since we talked about the Ceratosaurus and it's hot in the media right now, or say
Yeah.
Apex, the Stegosaurus, if you specifically were to go get a scan of it and you made the scan, you would be able to use that scan, but not like the other one.
Well, it depends. When you go to a museum, a lot of museums are starting to ban cell phones uh, at the entrance because there are a lot of apps now on the phones, especially with the new iPhones. They have LiDAR where you can easily scan model skeletons. But a lot of the models in the museums are actually replicas. Those replicas are copyright protected by the people that made them. Uh, and if you go to a museum and scan those skeletons, you're actually breaking copyright law because of it, especially when you're going to use those scans in a commercial way. That's the same like when my models, uh, a lot of my models are in exhibitions of museums. Yeah? Um, I think in about from 15 museums now that are on my list, from the Minnesota to the Nagasaki Museum in Japan, so close to both. And if people would go to that museum and go scan my skeleton, they're breaking my copyright. So I
Hmm.
retain the rights to those models, and it happened that some of these models ended up on Etsy. So
And of course, it'd be cool. The way to it would be. I'm no engineer. I know techno wizard or whatever. It would be super cool to figure out a way to, if like they do scan it in the museum, it just brings them to your website. It's just like buy it.
uh,
I don't know if that's possible. I don't know how that works, but that'd be really cool.
probably probably if you can write some software for it. These days you don't have to be able to do much with AI. So especially with software, somebody is bound to find things like that out. But you would still be breaking copyright law because very rarely are the specimens that are in display in museums real fossils.
Yeah.
Um, so you can see many like Dimetrodon. Uh, those appear in a lot of museums, and those are often the same cast of the animal in the same pose on the same base. So yeah, those are replicas, and
So
those are copyright protected.
it's the difference between like, oh, you have a 3D model for Tyrannosaurus Rex versus you have a 3D model for like Sue.
Yeah, uh, Sue has been scanned for research reasons, but those scans also are copyright protected. Stan has been scanned a couple of times. Trixie, but you cannot use those models, those scans for commercial reasons. And it actually, whenever you see a scan on Morphosource or whatever, you can go to the copyright claims, and you can see that these scans are open for the public, so you can download them, 3D print them. What you cannot do is use the 3D model, remodel it a little bit, and put it up for sale because you cannot remodel a CT scan that is also copyright infringement.
Because I was
Uh,
going to ask if you can still 3D print them. Because I'm pretty sure I have seen,
yeah,
not necessarily for sale, but in general, like 3D models of Sue and like other
yeah.
famous dinosaurs.
I'm I'm actually combating these practices on Cults 3D. So I also have a Cults 3D page that I where I upload free models. These models have been used by other artists, and they claim copyrightship of them. And when these are simple scans, they download it, remodel them a little bit, and then put them up for sale. Uh, they don't ask for a lot of money, €1, €2, €3, but when 300 people download them, that's €300 for them, and those are €300 that are actually stolen. Uh, so what I do with my Pulse 3D page is I upload free models there, the same scans, uh, also a little bit remodeled to give them more realistic texture, uh, but they're free. And I also credit the real owner of those scans into the description of the model. And also for some models, I also have explicit permission from the museum or university, and they're also listed into the description. So that's one way of combating them. Uh, One of the people in the paleo community is what's his name again on TikTok, who printed a lot of my models. Um, I forgot how his channel was called. Damn, I actually talked to him today, and now I forgot how he was called.
So
It's,
in short, you can print them Just don't sell them. You can give them, donate them, do whatever you want with them. Just don't sell them.
Yeah,
That's the primary thing.
That's
Actually,
correct.
how does donation work? Because like if you were to 3D print something, then donate to say like a small local museum.
You can do that because if you print them for free. So a couple of museums do accept replicas that are 3D printed that are gifts by the paleo community, and some museums will actually pay for the time you put in and the materials you put in. That's perfectly fine because you invested in the materials, but they're not going to pay you by the hour to make the model. That's actually still, and they're not actually uh, obligated to give you any money because it's a gift. And you can certainly gift a replica of a skull you found online. That's not an issue. That's not a problem. But you can do that for commercial purposes. So
So
the go check out the site Morphosaurus. There are hundreds of 3D scanned models on there from actual fossils that are really cool. And a great person to guide you through the Morphosaurus website and how to do make from CT scans 3D models is Kumiti on TikTok, and his channel is Let's Build a Dinosaur. So he's actually one of the advocates to use CT scans and do that for free. He also has a Cults 3D store where you can uh, download a lot of his found material on Morphosaurus for free.
So yeah, you can even donate to your local museum if they, accept it. But that's a whole different problem. Figure that out.
Yeah, yeah. If you can
Just don't sell.
contact the curator at your local museum, they would very much welcome those gifts.
But I mean, is there anything else you want to talk about before we wrap this up?
Uh, well, Simosukas is almost done. I'm actually printing the rib cage, not right now, but and this year, four big models and life-size models are going to be available on Nova Studios. And next year, I'm going to make the Pachycephalosaurus also life-size. That's actually the biggest model that's going to be available. It's a 3 meter long beast that's going to be available on the website. So yeah, that's pretty much it.
And I'll link all the websites mentioned or all the important ones mentioned or whatever just in the comment section for those of you who want to go check those out or want to start 3D printing yourself. Maybe you can build yourself your own little personal museum. That's kind of what I'm doing
That's
here.
actually, yeah, and it's actually pretty fun to do too.
So
It drives the wife's nuts, really, in a good way and a bad way.
but that's all from us for right now. So go check his stuff out, especially if you have a resin 3D printer. I'll check the link in the description. I'll leave websites, links, whatever's important down there. You can find whatever you need down there pretty much for me, but or my website because that has literally everything I talk about on there. But that's all from us. So I'm your host, Eric Crawford. This has been Prehistoric Life Podcast. Signing off. Remember, keep it prehistoric. Bye.